What if I told you that one small part inside your water heater could save you from spending thousands of dollars on a replacement? Most homeowners never even know it exists until it's too late. Every year, people replace perfectly repairable water heaters because they think the entire tank has failed. But in many cases, the real problem starts with one inexpensive component that's been quietly wearing out for years. Hidden inside almost every traditional tank water heater is a metal rod called the anode rod. According to the reference guide, it's one of the most overlooked parts of water heater maintenance, and many homeowners never inspect it. Think of your water heater as a large steel container filled with hot water. Steel naturally wants to rust, so manufacturers place a special metal rod inside the tank to protect it before corrosion can attack the steel itself. Here's the amazing part. The anode rod is designed to corrode on purpose through what's called a sacrificial process. It gives itself up so your water heater tank stays protected, and some professionals estimate that a healthy anode rod can even double the life of the tank. Here's something that surprises most homeowners. There isn't just one type of anode rod. The reference guide explains that there are several options, and each performs differently depending on your home's water conditions. Magnesium rods usually work best in soft water because they provide excellent protection, but they wear out faster in hard water. Aluminum rods resist mineral buildup better, making them a common choice for hard water areas. If your hot water smells like rotten eggs, don't assume the water heater is finished. The reference notes that a zinc-aluminum blend is specifically used to help address sulfur or rotten egg odors. The good news is your water heater usually gives you warning signs before it fails. Rusty or discolored hot water can be an early clue that the anode rod is no longer protecting the tank the way it should. According to the guide, you may also notice bubbling air in your plumbing, unpleasant odors, or inconsistent hot water throughout the house. These warning signs often appear long before the tank actually starts leaking.
Have you ever heard popping or crackling noises coming from your water heater? Many people think that's perfectly normal, but according to the reference guide, those sounds are often your heater asking for help, not a sign that it's working harder. Over time, minerals settle at the bottom of the tank and form a layer of sediment. When the burner or heating element turns on, that sediment traps heat against the metal, creating the popping and crackling sounds you hear during heating cycles. Many homeowners think sediment only increases their energy bill. The reference explains that trapped heat can create hotspots that warp the tank and accelerate corrosion. In other words, sediment doesn't just waste energy, it can shorten the life of the entire water heater. If you decide to replace the anode rod yourself, this is where many DIY projects go wrong. Stuck anode rods can strip their hex heads, snap in half, or even damage the tank threads if too much force is used. That's why a maintenance job that seems simple can suddenly become very expensive. The guide notes that over-torquing a stuck anode rod has led some homeowners to damage the tank itself, turning a low-cost repair into the need for an entirely new water heater. One of the earliest warning signs of internal corrosion isn't a leak, it's your hot water. The reference guide explains that rusty or discolored hot water can indicate the anode rod has been depleted and is no longer protecting the tank. Your water heater often gives several clues before it fails. Watch for rusty water, rotten egg odors, bubbling air in the plumbing, or hot water that suddenly becomes inconsistent. These signs can appear long before the tank begins leaking. The temperature and pressure relief valve is a critical safety device, but the guide points out something many people don't realize. If a corroded valve fails to reseat after testing, what started as a routine inspection can become an active leak. Here's another important detail. According to the reference, sound alone doesn't diagnose the problem. Popping during the heating cycle usually points to sediment, while hissing or gurgling at other times may suggest a slow leak somewhere in the system. If you own a gas water heater, don't overlook the exhaust flue. The guide explains that blockages, corrosion, or poor draft can create a hidden carbon monoxide risk, even when the tank itself appears to be working normally. Sometimes the biggest problem isn't the water heater itself. The reference explains that installation decisions made years ago, like missing drain pans, poor drainage, or improper fittings, can quietly increase the chance that a future leak becomes a flood.
A slow drip may not seem like a big deal today, but water damage often grows gradually. That's why it's important to notice changes early, before a small leak affects the rest of the room. Remember the sediment we talked about earlier? It doesn't only make your heater noisier. The guide explains that sediment traps heat, reduces efficiency, and can even contribute to structural damage inside the tank over time. You don't need to become a plumbing expert to spot trouble early. Simply pay attention to unusual sounds, changes in your hot water, visible corrosion, and anything that looks different from normal. Catching these warning signs early can help you decide when further inspection is needed. This checklist summarizes the warning signs discussed throughout the reference. The biggest takeaway is simple. Small problems are much easier to deal with than major failures. The earlier you recognize the warning signs we've covered, the better your chances of avoiding expensive surprises. This conclusion summarizes the maintenance-focused themes presented in the reference document. By now, you've seen that a water heater often gives warning signs before major problems appear. A simple routine of looking, listening, smelling, and checking for changes can help you notice issues early. This checklist summarizes the warning signs described throughout the reference document. Let's quickly review the biggest warning signs: rusty water, rotten egg smells, popping noises during heating, air bubbles, dripping safety valves, sediment buildup, blocked vents on gas units, and installation problems that increase flooding risk. Most water heaters don't fail without warning. In many cases, the clues appear months or even years earlier. The key is recognizing those clues before they become expensive repairs. This summarizes the maintenance-focused themes of the reference document. And if there's one lesson to remember, it's this: the small metal anode rod inside the tank is one of the most important parts of the entire system. It quietly sacrifices itself to protect the steel tank from corrosion. Now you know the water heater fixes that almost nobody talks about.
If this video helped you understand your water heater a little better, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who owns a home. It might save them from a very expensive surprise.